Let's talk about where we're heading. CNN Plus to cease on Thursday, 2 days earlier than announced. CNN Plus couldn't even fail on schedule.
Right.
Oh, that's
Wow.
brutal. That is
a good line.
brutal.
Well, this is a big change. I mean, CNN put 300 million, I believe, into it, right?
Yes. And
300
Yeah.
million.
And the story behind it is, somebody I know at Discovery called it an ego project, basically a Zucker ego project, and it was tossed in by the guy who left there, kind of as we wanted this, we're going to do it, you're stuck with it. And I don't think anyone thought that they were just going to shut it down, because that's a pretty big move to bring over Chris Wallace and so forth.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
I had reported that when Chris got over there, he was, having people count, like interns count how many times. He was furious because, the staff was different. It wasn't as big of an operation. His ego. One of the little secrets is, like, most of these anchors hate each other. Like, there's very few people, like Don Lemon and Cuomo used to have these little chit chats. But boy, when Cuomo left, Lemon couldn't talk about him bad as fast as he could. And, like, famously, Wallace and Tapper hate each other. The problem was when Zucker left, he left this giant vacuum of power because he was hands-on. And, the thought that, and my old boss, Dan Abrams, did a thing once right when this launched, was like, who thought this would be a good idea? Like, who thought you wanted to watch? And Tucker, like, somebody said to me, and I was kind of invested, but not super, was like, that Tapper has a book show on this. I'm like, a book show? We're going to listen to him talk about books on streaming? And I remember thinking to myself, that can't be true. And there it was. And, I've been in the media 15 years, and there's this, not only is there a city bubble in New York and DC, there's also a media bubble within them, that they think that they live in this moment and they live in these big, important roles. And if you try to question their judgment or disrupt their judgment on how things should work, and it's kind of like when Facebook years ago said pivot to video, and all these companies spent millions of dollars spending on video equipment, and then nothing happened because I guess millennials wanted 15-second videos, not 30-second videos. But this was, we need a streaming service because the kids are watching streaming. And most people think to themselves, there had to be like a lot of focus groups and stuff. Yeah, they paid money to be told that this would work. When if you asked a person on the corner, would this work? A homeless person who had had watched cable in the last 5 years would say, God, no. He wouldn't, but they...
Did they not do?
They did a study from,
yeah,
and
right.
I can't remember whether it was KPMG, and I don't want to, but it was one of the big ones that said this will be X amount of X whatever. Now, to be fair, when Zucker came on, when he took over, he introduced documentaries. Now you look at CNN today and you think, wow, they have some pretty good documentaries, and people made fun of him when he did that. So he's had some good ideas. Let's just say that if they had endless amounts of money and endless amounts of time, maybe once no one had cable anymore, and this was the only way to watch CNN, it might have worked. But when Discovery comes in and has, X amount of billions of dollars in debt, and this thing is costing, and Wallace is making $7 million. I mean, that's what
They're paying him.
Oh yeah,
million
absolutely.
For this.
Had to be about
Worth every penny.
$7 to
It's a
$10 million dollars, because
retirement.
that's about what Lemon and those people make. Now, the odds are that Wallace is probably going to end up with Cuomo's old time slot at 9.
Right.
Because you got this guy. What are you going to do with him? He's a good brand. The problem with him, when I reported this, he has no beachhead. Both sides hate him equally. Yeah. Like, the left hate him because he was near Fox. The Fox people hate him because he couldn't just be quiet and leave. He had to, poop on Tucker and the left, and they don't, they remember this. And so he's kind of this island of people who.
But I heard that the new leadership wants to purge CNN of
Yes.
the political stuff.
So it's happening. If you're a casual watcher and watch, say, Brian Stelter, who right now is kind of this thing to watch as far as the tempo there. He's the guy who used to every Sunday go after Fox or tweet at Fox or say this stuff about. He hasn't said anything about Fox, because they kind of set the rules where this is a news organization. This isn't about going after another news organization. This is about, You know, and then the Ukraine stuff happened. Perfect timing for the people in Discovery who wanted to see CNN go back to news, because they do an excellent job. Calissa Ward and all these people are bombs going after them. It reminds the only people who are watching cable, boomers, of, you know, Bernie in Iraq when, you know, we for the first time saw a war happen live during shock and awe. So it kind of reinforced that there is a business there. Now, the problem with that is no one's watching cable news anymore. And unless it's a crazy moment happening, people aren't running to the TVs. And God only know you guys in your 20s aren't sitting there watching cable on your, if you even have a cable TV package.